we're going to train on leadership, and I'm going to go through John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership, but how it connects to the Mary Kay business, because oddly enough, the 5 levels of leadership that he explains and describes, they align perfectly with how the Mary Kay career path goes up as a sales director and as a national sales director. So they're very appropriate for us to learn as leaders in the company. And John Maxwell said, success usually demands more than most people are willing to give. Okay, success demands more than most people are willing to give, but not more than they're capable. So it's usually not a question of can I or am I able to, it's a question of are you willing? And the thing that often makes the difference is good leadership. He also says that everything rises and falls on leadership. So let's talk about that. Let's start with the very first position, or the very first level of leadership, which is position. It's called the position level. You may or may not be a leader at this point, but you do have a title. Often in Mary Kay, it's when we're moving up into DIQ and as a new sales director, we have the title of a leader, but we may or may not have actually developed leadership skills. You may have some natural leadership tendencies, but I don't believe anyone is a born leader. It's absolutely a skill that needs to be developed, and we usually all start by just gaining a title, and that's the beginning of our leadership journey. So let's move on to the second level, which is called permission. Okay, so at the permission level, you have the position and the title, but the additional element is that the people you're working with are giving you permission to lead them. Or another way to say it is that you have influence with them, which is about people skills and your willingness to invest in people. It's an others-focused level. People are following you because they've invested in you. No one is actually a true leader without permission from her followers. Okay, so sometimes you can have the title, but without permission from your followers, you're not actually a true leader. But the danger in this level, okay, is that if you stop here, your influence with them eventually turns into a sorority-like group or just a fun girlfriends club. Okay, so you have influence, they've given you permission to lead them, but if you stop at this level, that influence doesn't extend and people don't continue to follow you because you need to offer them more than just a fun girlfriends club. You've got to take it to the next level. So let's talk about the third level. The third level is production. Very appropriate word in Mary Kay, production. So at this level, you have people who are giving you permission to lead them because you've invested in them. But again, those relationships alone are not enough. At the production level, there are 2 more elements that need to be added to your leadership. The first is leading by example. We hear it so much that we forget what it means sometimes. Leading by example. The second is holding a high standard for your people. Okay, leading by example and holding a high standard for the people who are following you. At this level, you are winning. The victories that Mia talked about as a director, you yourself are getting wins, you're having victories, and your people see that. You're winning, and then because of that, your people are winning. That's the whole lead by example concept, is that they follow the speed of the leader. Monkey see, monkey do. They see you winning, and then that empowers and enables and gives them the capability to go out there and win. At a production level of leadership, your people have goals. They buy into the team goals. They're skilled because you've trained them and coached them, and they're watching you lead by example. It's not just a fun girlfriend party anymore, which it still can be, but there's more to it. Your team is actually seeing results together. You're successful, and they're successful because of the mentoring and leadership that is happening at this level. The success that you can experience and that the team experiences as a whole gives your leadership credibility, which creates team spirit. Okay, at this level, the team spirit starts to develop, which creates momentum because everyone wants to be on a winning team. And I believe that directors who grow into this third level of leadership, I believe that is when they move into their pink Cadillac. I think that's when you start to move to that level of a win in Mary Kay and then continue to climb from there. I really believe that Cadillac, it's the stepping stone to every other big win that you can experience in Mary Kay. That is the first stepping stone. A lot of you have the vision for national, and I think that's very important to have a vision for national. And there's 2 ways you can work towards a goal. You can work toward it, and then you can work on it. Okay, and it's very different to work toward a goal than to work on a goal. And I think once you hit Cadillac and executive, that is when you can take that shift from working towards national, because it's important to have that vision. That's when you make that shift to actually working on becoming a national, and that becomes your focus, your intent, and your goal. But Cadillac and executive senior sales director are the stepping stones before you make that shift. There's a quote that kind of connects to this level of leadership. It says, "You can buy a man's time. You can buy his physical presence at a given place. You can even buy a measured number of his skilled muscular motions per hour. But you cannot buy enthusiasm, you cannot buy loyalty, you cannot buy the devotions of hearts, minds, and souls. You must earn these as a leader. You must earn these. We earn enthusiasm and loyalty by investing in our people, but we can't stop there. You have to add the elements of leading by example and holding a high standard. Remember, you are winning personally as a sales director, and then you're teaching your people to have that win." And I do want to briefly touch on leading by example. You know, we usually think of just being in the field, booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting. But it means just a lot more than that. And I think Brianne really did a good job of touching on that. It's showing up on time. It's being prepared. It's Mary Kay image. It's your attitude. It's responding in a timely manner. How did you ask that question, Brianne? That be the offspring sales director you would dream of having. Okay, hold yourself to that high standard, because you want to create a unit of people who have that high standard, and that's only going to happen if you're modeling that yourself. Okay, let's move on to the fourth level. The fourth level is people development. John Maxwell describes this level as pulling back from producing, from personally producing, and spending more one-on-one time with people. Okay, pulling back from producing, more intentional one-on-one time with people. So here's a question that I get so often from sales directors who want to move into the NSD position quickly. Here's the question. You may have asked this question. The question is, should I focus on my personal business, or should I focus on developing people? Have you ever had that thought? Should I focus on my personal business, or should I focus on just working with my people and moving them up? So I'm going to give you Leah Lauchlan's answer to this question. This is not gospel truth by any means, meaning that you may ask other NSDs this question and they may give you different advice that is just as valid as my advice. But I'm just going to tell you what I did to build a 5-time top trip unit since our very first year in a national area in 6 years. This is what I did. So do you focus on personal business or developing people? And my response is always both. And I think we all know that answer, but sometimes we think there's like another secret. There's like a secret out there that maybe we haven't discovered yet, and you're just looking for the secret. There is no secret. You can do both at the same time. As directors, there is a period of time when we're working both at the production and people development levels at the same time, okay? So you can work at both of these. Production is about you being out in the field leading by example, getting your own personal wins while teaching your people to win. But you absolutely have to be developing your people through one-on-one coaching at the same time, and I really do believe you can do both. If you have two things in place, let me add a little bit to that. You can do both if you, number one, have enough delegated help, and number two, you have systems and personal habits which allow that much productivity to come out of your home and your office. Okay, you can do both at the same time and do them quickly and do them well if you have enough delegated help. Number two, systems and personal habits that allow that level of productivity to come out of your home and your office and your business. And let me add, you can also do life well too. Okay, you can do life well. You can have balance. You can be with your kids. You can have boundaries while still building a national area quickly and a top unit quickly. I held 3 parties a week on average for 6 years, which is what built our top trip unit in our national area. I did not pull back from my personal business until every DIQ was in place to finish our area. Okay, I did not pull back from my personal business, and there were seasons when it was a little bit less or a little bit more, so it kind of ebbed and flowed during different seasons of my business, but I didn't completely pull back from it until every DIQ was in place to finish our area. And again, this is not gospel truth, this is just how I did it. So I do believe pulling back from your personal business too soon or too late can cause a delay in your promotion. I also believe that lack of consistency in your personal business can cause a delay in promotion. And it's just one of those things that you have to have discernment with. I talked to Sean Key one time, and I think I asked him, what's the difference between directors and $1 million directors or directors and nationals? And he said they have an intuition about when to pivot. An intuition about when to pivot, when to up their personal business or when to back off, when to dig in with their leaders or when to go find more. Okay, so it's just an intuition. And if you don't naturally have that intuition, I would just pray for discernment. Pray for discernment. There were many, many moments I felt I was out of my league or not sure if I had what it took to move to the next level. And I would always pray, God, give me discernment beyond my years of experience. Give me discernment beyond my years of experience. The last thing I'm going to say about people development is that at this level, you will really learn to be a world-class coach. And I believe a lack of coaching skills or just a lack of coaching activity can cause people to stay stuck in the production level. Okay, sometimes as directors, we just get stuck producing. It's not a bad level to get stuck at if you're producing and having a successful unit, but of course we want to move to that next level, which is people development. And you guys, live coaching. When I say live one-on-one coaching, that means a live conversation. Voxer is not coaching, okay? Did you guys know that? Voxer does not count as a live one-on-one coaching conversation. Sarah Light, who you heard from, we had a director day yesterday, and she trained. She's one of our top 5 sales directors, and she trained on coaching that day. And one thing that she said is the things that are often most important don't scream the loudest. The things that are often most important do not scream the loudest. And I believe that's coaching. It doesn't scream really loud, especially when you've got Voxer and you're connected to your people through other forms of communication. And so coaching doesn't seem as much of a priority, but it's the way you can most effectively develop your people. If you don't intentionally make time for it, it won't happen because it is a huge time investment. But for Sarah, it did become one of her key daily behaviors. Several months ago, she set aside an hour a day to coach her people, and that habit is really a huge part of her Cadillac win and also finding more joy in her business. She discovered that that's her sweet spot. All of a sudden, she knew her people's why, and she knew about them. She knew what motivated them, and that brought joy to her business, and that one thing that she focuses on drives other things. Booking calls, she said, not as exciting to do, not something she looks forward to, but booking calls bring in people so that she can coach them. And that's where she finds the most joy in the business. So if you can find that sweet spot, every other activity connects to it. So just pour yourself into that sweet spot and affects everything else. Okay, so the fifth level is called Pinnacle. Level 5 leaders are leaders who are developing other level 4 leaders. In Mary Kay, that is producing executives, elite executives, and national offspring sales directors. Leaders building leaders who are building other leaders. Mary Kay Ash was a level 5 leader to the max, and she built a company that, you guys, it's a part of our culture to develop leaders. That's what we do in Mary Kay. It is a habit she modeled, she taught it, she stood for it, she developed it, and she passed it on. That is the only way that this company will grow, to have leaders who are developing leaders who are developing leaders. At the NSD Summit that all of us were at in November, we got to hear from Jennifer Cook, who was her assistant for many years, and she just told stories and stories and stories about Mary Kay. And she talked about how in the 80s, she really started to think about the future of the company. And I don't know if worry is the right word to use, but just became concerned about the future of the company and didn't want it to die with her. And she wanted just the future of the company to grow and thrive and flourish after she was gone. And she knew the only way to make that happen was to develop leaders. And again, that's a part of our culture in Mary Kay and should be a priority for you as a sales director to do that. I think that is another reason why she's a level 5 leader, because a lot of leaders wouldn't care if their organization died with them because it's so about them. They may be an effective level 4 leader, but not a level 5 leader. Because level 5 leaders want to replace themselves because it's not about them, it's about the legacy they want to lead. So here are some truths about these leadership levels. Number 1, not climbing these levels limits you and it limits your people. Okay, so a focus on climbing to your next level is the way to tap out your potential. Number 2, the higher you go, the greater return and also the higher level of satisfaction you're going to have in your career and your business. The higher you go, the higher the satisfaction. Number 3, moving up always requires more personal growth and a willingness to change. Some people get stuck and stay stuck because they believe they have arrived and they stop growing and adapting. Number 4, the higher you go, the easier it is to lead, but there's more responsibility, more commitment, and more skill required. Number 5, moving up levels can sometimes occur slowly, but moving down them can happen very quickly. Then number 6, you cannot climb the levels alone. There is no I in team. It's always about team and moving people up with you. Every time you develop a leader, you make a difference in the world. This world needs more leaders. When you develop a follower, you gain a follower. When you develop a leader, you gain a leader and all her followers. When you develop a level 4 leader or level 4 leaders, you gain a leader who created other leaders, and you gain all those leaders and all the followers that they lead, and that is a national area. And think of the impact, you guys. Think of the number of lives that will be changed when we all focus on becoming level 5 leaders. The goal in life, it's not to live forever. The goal in life is to create something that does and to leave a legacy. And the best way to do that as a level 5 leader is to invest yourselves in the lives of others. So you guys, here we go. All of us in this room, we are the next generation of Mary Kay. You know, there's a lot of big-time nationals who are retiring this year and in the next few years. And it's kind of like the bricks out of the foundation are kind of being pulled out of Mary Kay with these national sales directors retiring. But we're the bricks to fill in the gap and create new strength and to solidify this opportunity. We are the next generation of leaders. We're also the next generation that's going to develop the next generation. So are you excited about that role and that responsibility and that privilege and that honor to strengthen and solidify the future of this company? I'm excited to develop leaders, and I hope that you guys are too. So it has been an absolute pleasure.